And this will be good for him because this is his broken arm, right?
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
It was.
We can break it again just for class. No? Okay.
I
Just
broke
check.
my collarbone on this arm and my...
Good job, Buckwheat.
To break my bones. Well, this one I just dislocated.
Oh, we dislocated, we broke the collarbone, and what else?
This I...
You better get a new mom. She's not taking good care of you.
No, it's my fault.
Oh, okay. It's his fault.
It's my fault.
What else? Did you get a broken heart?
I got a broken arm and a broken collarbone.
So again, I've never thought of this before. This was a late minute decision of trying to do a lesson with the mirror underneath it. But this is where I want to get my silicone doll so I can show. So do you see how he's trying to help me because I'm taking my hand away and he's just standing here in suspension. You will get that a lot, I believe, if you just pick an arm up and go like this. And I'll go, don't help me. And they're like, I'm not helping you. And then I go, no, not at all. You know, the arm will be totally suspended. So this is where I also believe it's in the details. If he's already holding his arm the way he knows how to do it, he's going to get less, as far as I'm concerned, out of the lesson. Now, I will admit that the mirror will be a little weird for me because I depend on the table to give me some buffer, but again, just to show, so just relax. So I'm just going underneath the shoulder just to see how he initiates it. Now, he's tight in here because he's broken it and had a sling in it, and, you know, his brain has learned, don't do that again.
I was pretty dumb for doing that.
It's okay.
I jumped off.
What, the roof, a moving car?
No. I jumped off like a small rock thing and I landed on the concrete and broke it. It was kind of bleeding.
So you can see how quickly, though, because he's got the movements in him, they were just traumatized. But here again, see how the lift isn't there. So I just wait. I'm holding his arm. I'm touching underneath his scapula. Hopefully his brain will go, well, if Miss Michelle's going to do all that, I don't have to do it, and, quote, release those muscles.
Okay.
Or I'm putting him in a position where his muscles don't need to be engaged, and they'll give themselves to me. There. Now see, at this point now, I'm no longer lifting the shoulder. The shoulder is a part of the movement, but it doesn't start and end with the shoulder. Do you see how the shoulder is actually moving this much in the movement?
Yes, but now I wish I remember what it looked like before we did that. Like I wish I could
That's why it's all on video.
So it would just stop there.
So it's like churning butter.
Okay, thank you.
But when I'm doing this, I'm twisting. It's like churning butter and milking a cow upside down. But notice I'm not doing this.
Right.
Just see how... Now, it would be a valid movement, and he would, quote, benefit for it. I might do that at some points, but that's not of this. It's how he wants to come back to the floor. I did this with an ice skater learning how to do a double axel versus a single, and that's the one thing he didn't have. When he went to land the jump, his ankle or his heel just wanted to find the floor. Well, that stopped the movement where he couldn't go into his second jump. So as he learned how to control the heel, come back down where he can go back up into a new jump, and then he's just nailed it. So
That amazes me.
yeah,
I didn't even think about the ice skaters.
yeah.
I'm like in love with figure skating. Wow.
This heel coming down in most of us is a very immature thing. If I right now ask all of you to stand on your toes and then bring your feet back down to the floor and up again, it would be very difficult. If I said bring your heels to the floor, most people would just, in a sense, fall. Good morning. I was wondering where you were.
Good afternoon. Tired.
Well, no babies are here today. I don't know where Luna is, and I don't know where Omni's not coming.
lifting the car looks
I know, but I don't want it back. Take it with.
So even with just one hand now, to see how he is just there. And he can do all this with his shoulder. But also how I can do this with him. And this is something that, you know, again with Hudson and stuff, is just, but he knows how to just let that arm go.
Like in my mind, like Hudson would be guarded to let you. As soon
Correct.
as you touch, it's like he just feels guarded.
Because he has not learned how to do this simple movement, he is guarded.
Okay.
Does that make sense,
So-
though?
Right. I'm just trying to understand because that's what I feel. So when we do a movement, listen on that arm, if he's guarded, you're giving him the sensation. I'm trying to understand what it is you're giving the shoulder.
A movement vocabulary. So the shoulder is learning like this, that it can come back down to the floor and then come off it again. The movement doesn't have to stop. Every movement that Hudson does, because he has cerebral palsy, stops.
Stops. Okay.
So he does this, he does this, he does this, he does that. But it can't be that continuous movement. And when the movement can be continuous, so can your processing and cognitive.
Correct.
Because he's, right now, Jesse's not worried where his shoulder is. So if I said right now, lift up your right foot. Jesse, lift up your right foot.
Do it.
Right? Lift up your left hand. See what I mean? He's doing all this without his shoulder being engaged.
Right.
Right? And that's the way life should be. Even though I'm right here, you can let it go. But if you had to worry about where this shoulder is, so now Jesse, make your shoulder really tight. Can you make that tight? Keep it tight. And now lift up your right leg.
Oh,
Right? Okay? And keep it tight, keep it tight. Lift up your left arm. Do you see the diff? Can you see a bit of it? Okay, let it go. Now let it go, make this loose. Now lift up your left arm. You know, does that, I don't know if that's clear enough.
It is clear. 'Cause I can.
But if he's too engaged in an activity that does not have anything to do with that, this activity is going to take precedence. So when people come to me and say, my kid's got CVI, and I'm like, but what are all the visual diagnoses? Oh, he has nystagmus and strabismus. Those two diagnoses take precedence versus working with the CVI. Because you have to get rid of the contractions and the habitual patternings first before the CVI can be worked with. Because the CVI is more of a cognitive processing thing. But I'm going to if I'm contracted, I'm going to automatically process in a way that's not typical.
So,
But just to look at him here, right?
Can you push the chair away? You don't want
And here, do you see the difference? See how that's a lift? Does that make sense?
Yes.
See how that's a roll?
Yes.
Do you see how he has a better sense of acceleration? His system mechanics are much better. He goes with the whole movement. Now you can argue I should be on that side doing this versus this. See how he had to lift his bum off the floor? See how he lifted right there? He lifted the bum.
Can you do the other side again, please?
See how he just
It's
rolls?
totally different,
It's totally different.
especially from this angle because I could see everything
Right.
come up.
This is where people argue with me saying, you should have 3 cameras going on when you do a lesson. I'm like, yeah, you come here and edit all that. So if I just go like this now, what we were talking about, do you see the contractions in the shoulder when I go to pull him? So you see how I can't get him off the ground, right? So now I'm going to go on this side and go like this. And again, use my counterbalance.
He's like noodle on that side.
They throw him off the
His system mechanics are just one with me. And for every action, there's an equal opposite reaction. Just Newton's third law. Does that make more
Brain
sense?
Pick that up.
It's not his brain, it's the system mechanics. The whole system is working more in a unison manner that his body can just respond to my stimuli, which is a pull and my counterbalance. So if I pull myself out, See? It's just nice and easy. Like, you guys can play with this. It's really... He'll start integrating it more and more that I do this. But this right here, right there is already a lift.
Right.
So I'm lifting, I'm lifting, I'm lifting. He's still not... His system mechanics are... So, yes, his brain's going, lady, I have no idea what you want me to do, but this is about as far as I'm going to go. I can keep doing this, but I might see his butt still isn't off the ground.
Right.
So at some point, I might, quote, hurt him.
Right.
Or when he goes to do something, whether it's a fire or play basketball, his body automatically is going to choose the more efficient way of doing it.
Right.
So the more and more he gets too complex, where this hand's doing really great, but this shoulder isn't, this, that, and the other, his brain's going to be like, all right, use that hand, but put the elbow down here and all this. That's a lot of information going through someone's system mechanics to finally say, well, wait a minute, you were only supposed to bounce a ball. It's so easy. So that's where someone goes, it's just easy, bounce the ball. But if their brain's going, hand over here, elbow, this knee, you know what I mean, where it's sort of like, you
Which
know,
is
the
how
connect the dots are off.
Yeah.
How do you expect someone to function, whether it's after a stroke or because they've had cerebral palsy, when all that's going through their system?
Well, maybe it's a blessing that my leg is bummed because I'm so guarded and protected that I've had to revise all my movements.
Right.
So now I overthink every process of getting in the shower.
You're all... Oh, no.
Him
Who
up.
wants to pull on his arm? Anybody?
It sounded kind of weird the way you said it. Who wants to pull on it?
No. So now take his left arm. Yeah.
You're not gonna pull on your head.
And now go on the other side. But that's how Feldenkrais was invented. He hurt his knee, and surgery would have just made the leg stiff. Wow. Yeah, see how it's just... And see how light he is? It's like the child on this side weighs 3 pounds, and the child on the other side weighs 50. Yeah.
That was just 5 minutes.
Yeah. Because he had the movements in him, I just fine-tuned him. No, don't start doing that. Don't start doing that so they can feel the difference.
Okay, yeah.
And this is why your daughter was much lighter after yesterday. One of the principles.
Sorry, pulling on you.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's really different.
But the more and more you feel what a good movement feels like, including him, the more intelligent he is and you are. See look how much effort she's putting into that. Wait till she hits the other side. She's going to be like, oh my gosh. Because you had to work harder. Because that's
You're not tricking us?
I know,
Yeah.
that's what I
I'm not doing anything.
Promise?
Yes.
But you see how your body doesn't have to worry about the knee on this
doesn't.
side, but on this side you are protecting
I
your
was
knee.
guarding
Pick
it.
up.
Correct.
So that's what I'm trying to get at with all the kids that I work on. Or anyway.
So cool.
Okay, Jesse, back to your iPad. You're all set.
The Newborn Movement Assessment Guide is available at Amazon.com and at the newbornmovementassessment.com website. Out of necessity to help a globally delayed child, Michelle Turner, Movement Integration Specialist, created Movement Lesson to benefit children throughout the world.